My name is Bisma Bhatti and I'm 16 years old. I love to ride. I'm an equestrian. I think riding horses has given me the insight into other people as well, because really, to get on a horse and do those courses, you need a lot of faith. I know there's a lot of negative stereotypes, and I think that having a Muslim Girl magazine really negates a lot of those stereotypes and lets people know what Muslim girls are really all about. We're not all terrorists or out to hurt the world. It's just real life teenagers, and it's our experiences and our stories.
Bisma, we profiled in one of our earlier issues, and in terms of her equestrian pursuits. I think she really represents our readership in terms of not only the things that she's doing, but just her spirit.
It was definitely a great honor. After reading it so many times, I realized the value of it. And it's such a great magazine for just Muslim girls to be able to look on, reflect on, and see, hey, one of us is on a cover.
Basically, the Muslim girl reader is age 13 to 25. We're finding that a lot of college-age girls are picking up the magazine. Not only that, their mothers are finding that, because there was nothing like this for their generation, they're picking it up for their daughters and they're reading it with them. I think often the traditional image that people may have of a Muslim woman in the mainstream media is that of sort of the veil or of subjugation and so on. And Muslim Girl, you just flip through the pages and that is sort of we're breaking that stereotype right off the bat.
A friend of mine who does work for the magazine, she contacted me and said, would it be okay if we did a profile of you? As teenagers, as adults, we have a number of universal things, and I think in that sense the magazine is addressing, or at least opening, the door to that kind of a connection and communication.
I always love seeing where these girls are from. I like her shoes.
I like her jeans, skinny jeans.
Yeah, but they look like emo jeans the way she's wearing them.
We actually have found that fashion is a really big focus for the magazine. So the way that we have gone about doing so is to showcase modern fashions that an everyday girl could wear, but in a Muslim context, perhaps instead of a strapless dress, we do a lot of layering. We've covered all sorts of things from Aikido to soccer to girls wearing hijab when they do their sports, and other girls that are sort of figuring out how they can dress modestly and still participate in their sport of choice.
I know there was an all-girls Muslim cheerleading squad, and that really touched me personally because I'm like, hey, I'm a cheerleader too. A lot of my friends are like, oh my God, a Muslim cheerleader? Like, it's unheard of. But I have my uniform, which has pants and it's full sleeve, and I have a matching scarf, and it hasn't been a safety hazard or anything.
Well, personally, I think that there is a real need for magazines like that target young Muslim girls. But at the same time, I find that because it has 3 advice columns, there is a need for the magazine to be more in line with the Islamic standards of beliefs, behaviors, and codes of conduct.
We may not be experts as editors in terms of answering girls' questions about religion or how they can approach something sensitive in their lives through an Islamic lens, but that's why we have writers for our columns that really have that background.
I don't agree with all of the advice in the magazine, but I do agree with most of it. Obviously, there's some things, the way I've been raised or the culture, that some of the answers would be a little bit different.
In terms of the advice, it's hard. For example, take the issue of dating. There is not an established voice. The religious community maybe would like to claim that there is an established voice, and some of them would say absolutely forbidden. But again, there is no, sort of an agreement on what exactly is supposed to be.
I happened to read something about, an advice column about advice being sought for a prom, and the person who was giving the advice said that the prom is okay as long as it is regulated or it is under certain constraints. According to the Islamic concept of modesty, men, boys and girls are not to mix in any situation that would be intimate.
The latest cover girl in our July issue is not wearing a headscarf. What we've decided to do is we want to depict girls that are either wearing the headscarf if they choose to, or if they don't, we are open to showing them in our magazine as well, because that is today's reality of the Muslim girl.
I think that the magazine's choice to put girls not wearing hijab on the cover, it's okay by me. I personally chose to wear hijab because it obviously adheres to my religion and I love what it stands for. So I personally don't mind, but I know that some of my friends have raised that why do they have a girl without wearing hijab on the cover?
We've had feedback from girls that would prefer sort of a more religious focus, and then girls that are really keen on the fact that we include all sorts of viewpoints in the magazine.
I do see real value in the magazine. I just fear, and my reservations are that this magazine does not slip into the role of, you know, your average mainstream teen magazines that are out there to sell a magazine, not really to, guide so-called the teenagers and protect them.
I feel that the magazine could also go a little further in terms of not just providing advice, but sort of trying to raise and allow the young girls to be part of a debate about these issues. The issue of, most young girls are pushed to think in a certain way, and I think that this magazine could pull away from that, and instead of pushing them to think in a certain way, it should also allow them to be sophisticated and participate in debates about why it is that a Muslim woman cannot marry a non-Muslim.
We're not shying away from issues that are tricky or controversial, and we're hoping to get a sense from girls what they're interested in reading as the magazine progresses.